had what I consider a career that I'm very proud of, and I'm in a role that I'm very proud of. But we all have self-doubt at times, and somewhere between self-doubt and imposter syndrome at times. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I'm really nervous about this meeting, and I still get this today. Am I going to be able to keep up with these people who are all from Deloitte or Ivy League or whatever? And you walk into a meeting and you realize you kind of have this moment of, no, I do belong at this table.
Hello, everyone. I am Melissa Forziat of Take the Doughnut, here to help you get inspiration and get donuts. I'm a motivational keynote speaker, and today I'm really excited to bring you a Take the Doughnut interview with Matt Farrell, who is the CEO of US Figure Skating. Welcome.
Hey, Melissa, great to be here. Thank you.
It's so good to talk with you, to reconnect with you, and I'm excited to ask you questions about your life. But first, I have to ask, what's your favorite donut?
was, I didn't have to think too long and hard about this one. Um, it's an apple fritter, and I will make up errands to run on Saturday morning to make sure I hit Dunkin' in my apple fritter route on Saturdays.
Perfect. So this is something that comes up for you more often than not, it sounds like. I love it. Apple fritters
It's
are my favorite.
authentic to my life. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I said just a little bit about you up front, but tell us more about yourself. What should we know about you in the big picture?
Yeah, currently the CEO of US Figure Skating, but this is the what I hope to be you know, the grand finale of about 30 years working in the sports business. Everything from college sports information to almost 30 years primarily working in the Olympic sports, a combination of the USOPC and USA Swimming, and then kind of threw in some Golf Channel and consulting in the mix. So it's been across different sports career-wise, and that's kind of the quick gist.
And that's plenty. I mean, summer, winter, you've covered it all. You've got like all elements of the sport journey. So let me hit the reset button for those who have never seen a Take the Donut interview before so they know what we're doing here. So for me, Take the Donut is another way to say carpe diem, and it's all about going after the things that you want in life. And it comes from this very strange thing that happened to me in college where I left an actual donut on a table, but it almost instantly became an object lesson for me and what it looks like to leave opportunities behind. So I don't want to do that anymore. I want to take the donut instead of leave it on the table. So, this conversation actually is all about going after opportunities, going after goals, dreams, and what does it really look like when we go to do that? So, Matt, let me ask you this to start us off. How are you with going after goals? What is that process like for you?
I'm actually, I mean, a lot of people will probably say they're, big on it, but I think it's very authentic and true. Meaning two of the most boring words in the English language when put together are strategic planning. And I just love it. And we're finishing that with US figure skating of like, um, where are we trying to go? What are we trying to do? And then I even had a formula that I was talking with somebody at US Figure Skating with today of how to prepare for a meeting. And I said, if you really watch me, you'll realize I follow the same formula almost every time. Uh, where are we today? And where do we want to go? Big picture. And then let's brainstorm ideas around that of what it would take. And it's very formulaic, but I take it seriously in terms of creating a 4-year plan for an Olympic organization, or what do we want to accomplish in the next 60 minutes in a meeting? Um, and so I just always feel like you're, you know, I don't know, mowing a lawn or painting a house that you're looking behind you and you see progress, and that's a big thing.
Hmm. I happen to like the word strategic too. I'll even take the word strategic planning put together. So I totally get what you're saying here. It makes sense that you or at the you've been at the helm of organizations too, if that is something that you enjoy. So when you're going after something really big, which often happens when you're setting out strategic plans, you're thinking really long term. What keeps you motivated in the process?
You know, some of it starts with I absolutely love the Olympic space and I love national governing bodies. And a lot of people who wake up wanting to work in sports probably don't think of that. It's a unique path. They think of I want to work for a professional sports team or a league. And what's super motivating to me is we've got this perfect blend in US figure skating and the NGB world of kind of this. We just came off an incredible Olympic Games, and it's the highest of the high of achievement. But I get just as excited about are we putting the right program in place for a young person or even an adult to try a sport for the first time? And I kind of somewhat jokingly say, our job is like imagine if Major League Baseball ran MLB, but they were also in charge of Little League and T-ball. And that's what we are. And that's the part that I just love. I've never been one to try to take a job to try to sell more pens or that doesn't motivate me, but getting people involved in a great sport, great activity, in this case, figure skating, and in my past life, swimming and others, uh, that's just really cool. And it feels like it's meaningful.
Yeah, it's the mission drives you in
Yeah,
all its
exactly.
forms. Yeah. Well, when we go after things that we want, a lot of times challenges come up. Obstacles come in our way very often. And for you, is there a particular brand of challenge that comes up every time you're doing something? Like, no matter what it is, no matter what arena of your life, you're probably going to see this Achilles heel come up for you. What is that?
Oh gosh, the con the consistency of it is sometimes you have an idea and a vision, and your instinct is to run fast at it. And with these roles, personally, professionally, sometimes you do have to realize that like like a track and field race, you can be the rabbit that gets out there so far that you turn around, there's nobody close to you. And it probably meant you went too fast. And like the lesson is then how do you stop and lead and bring a team with you on things? Because sometimes we get wired to like, I want to go, 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 but that's not always best leadership. Leadership is actually rallying the organization around you to do it. And sometimes you have to wear that rubber band on your wrist and snap it and just go, okay, I need to stop and lead a group, not lead my own myopic way of thinking.
Hmm. Yeah, going faster isn't necessarily better if you're going alone and you're meant to be with people.
Yeah, you look around and you're like,
So,
whoa, yeah,
yeah.
I'm
Oh
out
my
there.
goodness. I mean, even in the sports analogy of it all, for the sports that you see where people are sort of setting pace and you see people at the front of the pack, the idea of drafting is important too, and learning when to sort of give and take. And when you have a whole team, that's a process. So I think it's
Yeah.
a really
I would
interesting
also say,
observation.
Melissa, that that there are times that when I'll speak for me when I was younger in my 20s and my 30s and even some of my 40s, you just have this vision that your career is always going to go up, 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 up and peak. And it doesn't happen that way. And somewhere along the way, you're going to get slugged in the gut and have to reset, reinvent. And I would say that that hurts at the time, but it actually has an unintended good consequence of creating a little bit of humility in situations. And you don't walk in thinking you're the smartest person in every room you walk in, and um, that's one of kind of those challenges where you just get hit with something and have to adapt. And I think it actually helps you in the long term as much
Hmm.
as it may have sucked in the moment.
Hmm. Well said. Now, I'm really curious what you're going to pick for this answer. When you think back on your life to this point, this could be a personal, professional answer, whatever comes up for you. What is the biggest donut you've ever taken? That could be the biggest opportunity you've said yes to, the biggest thing you've gone after. What do you think of with that?
Probably a couple, and they were very different reasons. One, when I was in my consulting business of getting a baseball technology project started, it felt like you were slogging in the mud. So it didn't feel like taking the donut at the time because, any startup is messy and hard and complicated, but just kept chopping away at it. And that technology company is called Bat Around, and I'm still involved in the board today. I just kind of think like a golf simulator, but for baseball. Um, the other one was this job. And this job, which I took a year ago, had no plans to return to the Olympic movement. This one was so special with US figure skating. And I described it at the time of this job had me 50% bust down the locker room doors excited and 50% scared to death. And and I find that to be a pretty good motivating mix, actually. So it's probably this one, and it's too soon to, plant any mission accomplished flags because I'm only 11 months into it, but it's been a blast.
I say go ahead and do it. If anybody has not followed your journey to this point, check out Matt on LinkedIn from check the date when you announced your new position and the things that have happened in your sport since that time. And I think you've earned some planted flags.
Well, thank you. I inherited an embarrassment of riches on athletes and organization. So my job was just to either stay out of the way or clear paths to let excellence come through with them. So
Mm. Well, what's a donut that you're taking now? What's in progress for you that you can talk about?
yeah, it's probably a little bit of a mix, and I've said this jokingly inside internally, but it's not as much of a joke as I make it out to be that, when I was hired 8 or 9 months before an Olympic Games, your job is really to prepare for that, not just the athletes, because there's nothing that I was going to do to help them skate better, but is the organization ready for an Olympics? Are skating clubs around the country ready for an Olympics? And then you get after Milan, then everything else in the organization was like this jack in the box that the crank just kept getting tighter and tighter and tighter. Then the game's finished and it's just like blah, everything just blasts. And that's organizational structure, how we structure our member benefits, what is our technology foundation as an organization, how do we collect and data, and none of those are really sexy things, but they're the most foundationally important things to us as we operate as an organization. And so those are my biggest, like, okay, let's just roll up our sleeves on, each topic one by one and try to tackle them. So those are probably the biggies.
Mm. Does I mean I know that you don't have the historical experience with your NGB maybe to answer this, but does US figure skating tend to do strategic planning at this time after every games, or is this something that you undertook as a special circumstance given whatever you saw when you came in?
They have done strategic planning, and it's pretty common in the Olympic world. Um, what can happen, and I'm not saying this was U.S. figure skating, but sometimes a strategic plan ends up being this really nice binder on a shelf.
Yeah.
Um, and it sounds good when you announce it. And I suppose we're all susceptible to that, even this plan that we've just developed. But now I've hired people with expertise in project management um, to really develop out an operating plan, how our measures attached to each of us as employees, how's our compensation tied to it. So we've got the binder on the shelf for the next 4 years right now, but I'm really trying to put the right pieces in place that strategic plan is mentioned in every meeting that we have, no matter what the topic is. Otherwise, it's literally just a nice little showpiece that had a nice press release and announcement to it, and nothing beyond that. And I think we're all susceptible to that. So, like, just being consistent and repetitive about it to make sure it is top of mind.
Hmm. Well, let's sprinkle some encouragement. There may be some people who are, I do donut puns here, Matt. That's what I do. There may be some people who are watching this who have a donut of their own they want to take. It could be an idea, or it could be something they've started to move towards and they're looking for some guidance or some wisdom to keep moving forward. So, what would you say to those people?
Well, one would be a shameless plug that whether you want to work in sports or not is not the point. But I used to get a lot of questions like this, and I created a TikTok account under my name that just some was leadership, some was just working in the business, and that's just fun. If you get bored, it's at Matt Farrell _. Um, but I think the theme for me that comes through is I've had what I consider a career that I'm very proud of, and I'm in a role that I'm very proud of. But we all have self-doubt at times, and somewhere between self-doubt and imposter syndrome at times. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I'm really nervous about this meeting, and I still get this today. Am I going to be able to keep up with these people who are all from Deloitte or Ivy League or whatever, and you walk into a meeting and you realize you kind of have this moment of, no, I do belong at this table. And so sometimes it's just we all have self-doubt, and if you get to the career point in your career where you don't, then maybe you do need to be knocked down a peg. Um, but it's okay. And we all feel it. And once you kind of get into bad sports pun, Melissa, once you get into the flow of the game, you realize, yeah, I belong in this lineup. I belong at this table. Um, and then you leave kind of thinking, you know what, I've actually performed better than I gave myself credit.
Well said. And it means a lot coming from someone in your position too, that we can still experience these feelings at any stage of our careers and at any level. So you've said a little bit about it there, but for those who want to follow you on your journey, where can they find you? We've got the TikTok account. What other links should I put in the description?
I honestly think LinkedIn is the best one. I know LinkedIn gets a bad rap at times, but I do think it's a useful tool. I'm an occasional poster, but I do check messages. Anybody who connects with me, I at least try to take a moment to learn about who they are and their background. And so that's always the best one. Um, Instagram, others, there are accounts out there, but they're kind of content wastelands for me. I don't do much there. So
That's
LinkedIn and occasional uh, mind-numbing scroll on TikTok would be where I would go.
that's fair enough. Well, I'll make sure to get those links into the description so people can find those as easily as possible. And if you're watching this and you liked hearing Matt's story, be sure to like and subscribe on the video because there's so many inspirational interviews still to come every single week. In the meantime, though, Matt, thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy year and schedule and for talking with me about going after what you want in life.
Oh, I've loved it. I've loved what you're doing here, and it's obviously great to reconnect with you, and we'll do it sooner next time. So,
That sounds good. And to everybody who's watching this, thank you so much for watching. And you know what to do. Go out there, get inspiration and get donuts. Bye, everyone.
see ya.